Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. So in this video we're going to make a cutscene from scratch using scripting. This video will be a little long, but don't worry, you'll understand a lot of things, you'll learn a lot of things. So let's go. Faceplate, and let's start. First of all, any cutscene needs some cameras, right? So we can make a folder for our cutscene. We'll call it cutscene. Just like this. Okay, good. Now let's make some parts. Alright, here we go. Now we need to know where is the front surface, right? So what we can do is get a decal or a texture. So just go to the toolbox and then images and look for some texture. Any texture will do. It doesn't really matter. Let's say this one. Alright, and then I just copied the asset ID using right click, and now I'm going to go to the part or my part, and then I'm going to look for decal, right? Here we go. Make sure that the face is front and put in the texture, like just do Control V. And here we go. Now we know where is the front face of our camera. Now we can just grab that camera, put whatever we want. For now, I'm just going to put them randomly, just like that, just like that. Alright, let's put another camera, just like that. Boom, boom. Alright, here we go. Now I got 3 cameras. I'm just going to select them all. I'm going to drag them into my folder. Alright, now I'm going to enumerate them from 1, 2, and 3. So we'll start here by 1, here 2, here 3. You can change the order whenever you want, it doesn't matter. And now we're going to make a script. Now we have 2 options, either to make a local script, right? Local script or a server script. Well, let's think about it. We're actually managing the player's camera, the current player's camera. And so the camera is in the client because every client has his own camera and he's free to do anything he wants with it. Like even if he cheated, he can easily control the camera and we can do anything about it, alright? So the best choice here is a local script. So let's go to our player scripts and local scripts. And it doesn't matter if he cheats or not, because he'll cheat if he wants to, because the player or the client have full control over the camera, no matter what. Now let's get the camera. So game.Get or wait, workspace.current camera, just like that. And then what we need is the cutscene folder that we have inside the workspace. So what we'll say is local cutscene is equal to workspace.cutscene, and just like that. Here we go. Now what we need is to run the cutscene. So we'll make a function called run, okay? And before actually going any further, we need a camera handle. And I'll show you what a camera handle later on. But for now, you can just grab the first camera and then do Control D to clone it. Alright? And then call that one camera, just like this. Let's call it handle. That's much better. Alright, good. Now we do have a handle. Alright, cool. Now inside the run function, or actually not inside the run function, let's get the handle here. So local handle is equal to cutscene.handle. Oh, handle like this. Alright. Now we got the handle. Now what we should do is to loop through every camera from 1 to 3. How we can do that? Well, for I is equal to 0 or 1, because we'll start from 1, comma. Well, we need now to get the to get the maximum thing. So the maximum count, which is 3 in this case. So we can get the children, the count of the children, which is 4, but we do need to subtract 1 because we have the handle here. Or what we can do is put the cameras alone in their own folder, just like this. Put them there, and here you go. Now you can just go ahead and just control the cameras itself. So cameras is equal to cutscene.cameras. Alright, cool. Now for I is equal to 1 to cameras, which is this folder. Now what we're going to do, we're going to get the children, a list of the children. So it will return a list containing this, this, and this. So let's do that, get children. And then we don't really want the children, but we want the count of the children. So we're going to add a hashtag here. So it will go from 1 to the count of how much children there is here, which is in this case 3 children. Alright, good stuff. Comma 1, do. Because we're going to increment by 1. Alright. Now we're going to attempt to find the target camera, alright? Or target key point or keyframe. Let's go with key point. Key point, yeah, is equal to cameras. And we need to find first child because we want to find a child with some sort of name, alright? Inside of the cameras folder. So find first child, and we have I, which goes from 1 to the count of the cameras get children, which means it will go from 1 to 3 in this case. But the case is that this is a number, alright? It's not a string, it's not a name. So how we can cast the number or convert the number to a string or to a name? How we can do that? Basically using toString. So we can actually do it on its own variable. Local name is equal to toString I, okay? toString I. So I'm just casting this number into a string, which is a name. Alright, good. Now I can use here find first child name, and I'm going to give it the name. So for example, if I'm here, it will be like this. Find first child, let's say 1, okay? Just like that. Alright, good stuff. Now, we'll do some check. We'll see if we found the key point or not. If not key point, if we didn't find a child with that name, then we're just going to skip this camera because it's not found. We're just going to skip to the next one if there is anyone else. Alright, so what we're going to say is continue. So if not key point, then continue. Don't do the following code. Alright, so we're just quitting this whole to the next index, or to the next I, and we're not going to execute the following code. Now, if we're here, we successfully found the key point. So what we can do is, we need to tween the handle to that key point. So how we can do that, of course, we do need the tween service. So local tween service is equal to game.Service, not getActor, but getService, tween service. Alright, good. Now we got the tween service. What we can do is tween service, and we need to create a tween. Alright, so local tween is equal to tween service create, and we do need to give it the instance that we want to tween, which is the handle. And I'll show you why. Like normally we need to give it the camera, but I'll show you why I made it into handle later on. It's a pretty good thing that I did this. Alright, so tween create handle, comma, tween info, because this was a big problem in my plugin, is that I didn't use a handle, but I actually tweened the camera itself, which really, it's not like, it's okay, but it's just not the best solution. I'll show you how or why later on. And you'll see in your eyes, or by using your eyes, right? So tweeninfo.new. The number time. Now you need to give it a time. And for that, we're going to have a default table, which will contain all the default values that we want. So default, and inside it, I'll have a tween. So the default of the tweens So the default of the duration, I'll go with 5 for now, or actually I'll just go with, let's say 1 or 2. Yeah, 2 is good. And then what we need else, so this is the duration, right? Equal to, so we'll just pass in here default dot duration, or dot tween dot duration. And instead, because we're going to use this default dot tween a lot, we're just going to put it into its own variable. So I'll call it tween info. I'll just call it tween, and let's call this one animation, for example, anim, for example. So local tween is equal to default dot tween. So we're getting this table right here. So default dot tween, and then here we're taking tween dot duration, comma. What we need now is the easing style. So we'll say tween dot style, and then tween dot direction. And that's all we really need here. So what we can do is go to the tween table, and then we'll add those elements, which is style. So you'll say equal to enum.style, easing style, right? Dot sign. Sign is mostly the best, so that's why I choose that. And enum is just a way to actually make some options. So enums contains a lot of options basically. Alright, style, and then we need the direction is equal to enum dot easing direction dot in out. There is in out and in out. This needs its own tutorial to explain it, but most of the time you'll just need in out. Alright, so like it's the best one most of the time. So yeah, tween dot direction, anim. Alright, now we created an animation. However, we still didn't gave it the properties that we want to tween, which is of course the C frame. So C frame, the new C frame after this animation is done, we need to make sure that the handle is actually in the position, or in the position and the rotation of the key point, which is in this case just the C frame. C frame contains both rotation and position. So that's perfect for us, right? Cool. Now what we're going to do is C frame is equal to, so we got the key point part, so we can do key point dot C frame. Very basic, right? Cool. Now we got that out of the way. Now we created an animation or a tween. What we can do now is to play the animation. Anim play. But hey, if we do this right now, it will go and make an animation for every child of this, and it will go ahead and play it, right? But this is really won't work. Why? Because we're going to make a lot of animations and run it at the same time, which will make the camera go crazy, or it will just, you know, go ahead and tween itself to the last element, which is not what we want, of course. We want to wait for this current animation to complete. Then we can go ahead and go to the next animation or to the next key point. So what we can do is anim, I guess dot finished or dot incomplete, we will see, dot finished, wait. And this should be fine. And let's just make sure that finished is right. Okay, so we need to play. Let's see what's gonna happen here, if it will work or not. Okay, let's see. So first of all, you can see that this stuff is not anchored, which is bad. Okay, it needs to be anchored at least. So let's anchor everything. The handle too should be anchored. Okay, now let's try once again. Okay. So nothing is really happening. And I know why, because we didn't run the run function yet. We just created it, but we didn't invoke it yet. So we didn't run the animation yet, or the cutscene yet. So I'm just going to call the function using run, just like this, and I'm going to add the parentheses because the function is called run. That should be it. This should work, hopefully. And of course, finished is not a valid member of Tween. It's just saying that there is nothing called finished inside a Tween animation. So it's probably not completed, not finished. If not, I'm going to look for the wiki. For the Roblox wiki. Alright, so here we go. It works. And since I don't really see it well, I'm just gonna add a little bit of weight before, playing the animation so I can see what's going on exactly. Here we go. As you can see, it works perfectly. Alright, but the thing is, it's not our camera, it's just a part that gets animated. So what we can do now is basically every frame, like 60 times per second, we just need to set the camera position to the handle position. And you're right if you told me that why you're gonna do that. You can just go ahead, instead of handle, you can just set it to the camera. But I'll show you why in a sec. It just makes something really much more easier. But we'll see. We'll see later on. So, wait 5, run. Alright, so what we need to do right now is to give the run service, local run service, is equal to game.Service, run service. Run service. Here we go. Now we got the run service. Now we're going to go here after the wait. We're going to say run service dot render stepped connect function, and I'll show you what this means. Well, actually, instead of making that function, I'll call this update. Alright? So, local function updates. Here we go. And make sure that it's the same exact name with its uppercase letters and the other letters. Alright, so, local function update. Now, what this will do. So, inside run service, there is an event called render step. What this event does is that it will fire my function, because I connected to it. It will fire my function 60 times per second, as long as the game is running 60 times per second. So it will run as the FPS goes. So if my game is running on 60 FPS, then this will run 60 times per second. Alright, so that's the thing about it. Now we can print something, hello, just so you can see what's going on here. And let's test, and let's see what's going on. And so what's happening? Here we go. Hello, dude. And as you can see, it's getting printed a lot of times, like 60 times per second, which is a lot. Alright, cool. Now instead of printing just hello, dude, we need right now to set the camera position every frame to the handle dot position. So how we can do that? And also the rotation, of course. And as you know, the C frame contains the position and the rotation, so we need to set the C frame. So what we can do is camera dot C frame is equal to handle dot C frame. Alright? But the thing is, this might work, but there is a problem. But let's just see what's going on here. Alright, here we go. So it's working, but really it's not the best. Why? You would say, well, it's pretty easy because the camera is getting controlled by another script too, which is the player script, the default camera script. So how we can disable that is just by using camera.cameraType dot or equal to Enum.camera_type, because we're going to use an option right now, which is called camera type. And here we have some options. So we need to use scriptable, because we're just going to say to Roblox, hey Roblox, please don't control my camera. I'm the only one who's going to control it using my scripts. Please don't touch it. Alright? So that's it basically. And then we're setting the C frame. Now let's test, and it should be just fine. Alright, let's see. Here we go. Boom. Boom. And it works just fine. Cool. Now, what we can do is add some more cameras. You can just do like this. Right? Let's just get this camera. I will do Control D to copy it. I'll call it 4 because it's the next number. And even if you call it 5, for example, you skip the number, it doesn't matter because we have this on place. If not, keep on there, continue. So if it doesn't find, for example, 4, then we'll just go ahead and skip to 5. So that's pretty good. Alright, so now what to do is, alright, let's see. Let's put this somewhere else. For example, in the spawn location, where the character is spawned. Let's say, alright. And you can control where it's looking. Alright, anyway. So just leave it like that. And by the way, if you want to control it well, you can just toggle this off. And now we can just rotate it however we want. And let's do Control L, so we can control it like this, locally. Here we go. You can see how this works. Oh, you just gotta have it like this. Like this. Let's say you don't want this thing right here. Instead of a face, you want something else. What you can do is, oh, not there. Here in the 4, you can go delete the decal and then go to the command line. Do select, of course, make sure that you're selecting everything. That you're selecting all, like just delete those decals. And we'll do something else. And select all your cameras, including the handle. And I'm going to make something. I'm going to make a little script. So I'm just gonna open up, well, let's just do it here anyways. So I'm going to make a little script. First of all, I'm getting the selection. So local game get selection, or game.Selection get, right? This will give me the selection in my studio. This of course will only work in the command line and inside studio basically. So local selection is equal game.Selection get. Now I'm going through all the selections. So for part in pairs selection, do. And of course for I, part in pair selection, do. Alright, selection. Now what I'm going to do, I can print the part.name so you can see what the heck I'm doing here. Alright, so let's get the command line. I just copied that stuff. Where's the command line? Here we go, command bar. And then I'm just going to paste my code there. And you can see that it prints 1, 2, 3, 4 handle because it's the one that I'm selecting, which is good enough. Now what I want to do is to just do the following. Part.FrontSurface is equal to Enum.SurfaceType.Hinge. So basically I'm putting a hinge in every front surface. Now let's try this up and hopefully it will work. Alright, Control V, Enter, and here we go. Now all my parts have a hinge instead. Cool. Awesome. Alright, pretty good, huh? Now we're good to go. By the way, you'll find this little snippet of code in the description, so you can just copy it, paste it here, and then press enter. Alright, good stuff. Now, what we need is that we added right now a camera, and let's see if it does work. Let's see if it does work. Alright. It waits 5 seconds and then it goes like that. Here we go. But the problem is that right now I'm seeing this hinge, this weird hinge on all my cameras. So what I can do is make a function that will remove those hinges when I play, so I don't see them while I play. Local function initialize, or init, I'm going to call it init, and I'm going to say the following. I'm just going to put it here, and I'll put my weight and all of this crazy stuff inside of it too. Alright, and then I'll just call the init function, so stuff is more organized into functions. So I need to make a new function called hide cutscene, just so it hides those parts. So what I can do is for I, v in pairs, or let's say for I, part in pairs, cutscene, so the cutscene folder, and what the cutscene folder get descendants. So I'm getting all the children of the children of the children of the cutscene. So everything inside the cutscene with no exception. Do. But the problem is without exception. So we need to make our own exceptions. And what's the exception in this case is that we need to make sure that the parts that we're trying to configure, it's actually a part, not a folder, for example. So it doesn't error, right? So we'll say if part is a base part, just like that. Do. Okay, not do, then, right? Then. And you can ask me about why I did base part instead of just part. I can do part, but if you have a mesh or something like that here instead of a part, then it won't work for you. So base part does include a normal part, a mesh, a special mesh, and everything in between. So that's pretty good. So if part is a base part, then what I'm going to do is, well, I'm gonna try to hide that part. So part, the transparency is equal to 1. And let's see how that goes. Alright, let's see. And my parts are still there for some reason. So let's see why. Why? Because I didn't call my function yet. So what I can do is, before even waiting, I'm just going to hide the cutscene instantly. When the game runs, I'm just going directly and hiding the cutscene. Then I'm going to wait 5. Then I'm going to hook the camera into the handle, and then I'm going to run the cutscene. So play. Alright, let's see. So the parts aren't visible at all now. Cool. And now, but here we're stuck, right? By the way, if you want to see the cutscene parts again, you can just comment this out, comment that function call, and boom, it should be visible again, as you can see here. Alright, good stuff. Now we can just save this to make sure it doesn't go away. Let's call it video tutorial, for example. Okay, good stuff. You'll find all of this code in the description, of course. So yeah, we'll make this into its own function. I'll call it hook camera. Hook camera to handle, okay? Hook camera to handle, because this is basically making sure that the camera is in the same position as the handle. So local function hook camera to handle. Alright, here we go. And we'll say run service.render step connect update. And this should work just the same. It's really the same thing. I just made this into a function so it's more visible to what it does basically. And instead of let's just make it more like understandable by making it use start basically. So when we start the game, we want to hide the cutscene and then wait 5 seconds. Then we're going to hook the camera to handle and run. By the way, you shouldn't use wait. You really shouldn't use it. And if you really need to use a wait, instead of this normal wait, you can say task.wait, because this is a new feature of Roblox, and the other one is deprecated because it's really bad. But this one is much better. So task.wait 5 seconds. Here we go. Nice. Now it should work just as fine. Alright, let's see. And here we go. It works perfectly. Now the thing is, when the camera is done, it really doesn't like, let's say, it doesn't give me back my camera to the character, right? It doesn't tell Roblox to control my camera again. So what I can do is I need to set again the camera type to normal. So what I should do is, after running the cutscene, I can go ahead and say inhook camera to handle, right? And I need to make that function. So I'm just going to copy that, and instead of hook, I'm going to call it inhook. Now I need to do the opposite of this. However, I can't really do it because this is not the right way to do this. How we can do the same line but in a better way, how we can do it, I'll just make a variable on the top, and I'm going to say is camera hooked is equal to nil. Alright, good. Now when we unhook, so in the hook camera handle, instead of doing this, I'm just going to comment this out because I don't want to do it this way. But I'm going to do run service render step, or actually run service bind to render step, and then I need to call my render step. So I'll call it cutscene rendering, for example, and then comma, and just to make sure it's unique, by the way, I'm just going to say os.clock, just to make sure it's unique from other scripts, if there is any other script. Alright, good stuff. Or actually, let's just go ahead and say cutscene rendering. It's much better, right? So what's the next one? Bind to render step. We need the priority and the function. So what is the priority? It's just, you're going to say enum.render priority dot, and then you have camera character first, input last. So what I'm going to do here is just, I'm going to say first, I want to update my camera positions first of all, like really at first. So enum.render priority dot first, comma, and then I need to give it the function that I want to update. So update function. Alright, and this is basically the same thing as this one, as this line. And let's make sure that it is. So, oh yeah, I know why. Because this is just a token, but not an actual value. So I need to say dot value, just like that. And this should work, hopefully. And instead of waiting 5, let's just say, for example, 1 for now. Play. Let's go. Here we go. And it works just the same way as before. But now we can do something else. So in hook camera handle, what we can say is front surface in bind from render step. In bind from render step. Then I need to give it the same name that I gave to this one. And now it will in-hook my camera because it won't let Roblox call this update function anymore until I call the hook camera handle again. And just to make sure nothing goes wrong, I'm gonna make sure that is camera hook is false or true depending on what you want. So in hook camera to handle, I'm going, by the way, I don't need this anymore. I'm just going to check if the camera is hooked or not. So if it's camera hooked, then return. I don't need to hook the camera once again. Let's say you called it 2 times somehow, then I don't want to do it 2 times. And the same thing goes to this one. If not is camera hooked, then just return. If there is no camera hooked, then we don't need to invite anything. And then if we hooked, we should make sure to toggle that on. So if his camera hooked is equal to true. Let's put it first actually. And the same thing goes to here. Is camera hooked, and instead of true, we'll go to false. And here we go. Here we go. Now this should be fine. Now the next step is, let's say I want to run my cutscene right away. I don't want to wait for anything. So I can just, remove the wait and let's see what's going to happen. If this will work just fine or not. And here we go. It works. Pretty much. Alright, good stuff. And let's just add an option. So, or actually no need. Alright, good stuff. So if you want to wait before actually running the cutscene, let's say you want to wait 10 seconds, then run the cutscene, you could just say 10. Task.wait 10. And by the way, I'm just going to put all of this inside one function called start cutscene. Local function. Start cutscene. Okay. Make sure the names are right. And now this is perfect. And instead of task.wait, I can just say local wait is equal to task.wait. So I'm just overriding the default wait function with the task.wait function because it's much better. Now I can just use the wait function normally. Wait 10 seconds or however I want. Okay, good stuff. Now I don't really need the wait. So basically I'm hiding the cutscene, then I'm starting the cutscene. Start the cutscene, what we'll do, it will hook the camera to handle, so it will align its position to the handle of the cutscene, and then it will run the cutscene, and then when it's ended, it will in-hook the camera. That's basically what's happening. Alright. Good stuff. Now, let's say we want to run the cutscene just if some parts get touched. How we can do that? Well, we can get a part. We can grab it. Put it somewhere. Okay, good stuff. Now, alright, let me make sure that the move and rotate is fine. I'm going to set this to 145 just so it's much more smoother. I'll just remove this and do it again. Alright, here we go. Now let's say that I want to see if this part gets touched or not, okay? So what can I do? First of all, I need to find my part. Let's say this is called onTouch. It's inside the workspace. You can also put it inside the cutscene itself, which is what I'm going to do. But you can do it wherever you want. You just need to know how you can grab it using code. So I'm just putting it into the cutscenes folder, as you can see. Now here's what I'm going to say is instead of starting the cutscene right away in the start function, I'm going to say the following. So I just commented it out. It's like deleted, but it's just there if we need it. So what I can do is, first of all, I need the on-touch part, right? So what I can say is script or cutscene, which is the cutscene folder, dot on-touch. On-touch dot touched, because every part does contain an event called touched. Now I'm going to say touched. Connect to a function. So I'm going to connect it to a function, which I'm going to call onTouch, basically. So I'm going to make a new function called onTouch. So local function onTouch, it's going to be, so here I'm just going to start the cutscene. There we go. Let's play and see what's gonna happen here. I'm not quite sure. We probably have a problem, but we'll see how we can fix it. Okay, where's my part? It's not even there somehow. Oh, it's actually here. But let's make sure it's anchored. That's it. And let's just play. Let's see. So as you can see, the cutscene doesn't run directly while I play the game because I actually don't start the cutscene when the start function get on. So now, where's my part? Where it goes? Let me see. Cutscene. Oh, why it's oh yeah. It's invisible because I put it inside my cutscene folder. And as you can see, as long as I touch it, it will try to play the cutscene again, which makes it very, very, very crazy. So this shouldn't really happen. So how I can do that, or how I can prevent that from happening, is just by doing this. So local is playing. So if the cutscene is playing, so is playing is equal to false because at first it's not playing. But if you run or call the function run, it should turn on is playing to true, and then when it's ended, it should turn it off. Is playing is equal to false. All right, here we go. Play, and now, where is my part? Let me make sure to put this on touch into the workspace or somewhere else, because any part inside the cutscene folder will be invisible when you hide it. So what I can do is, but right now I need to say workspace.onTouch instead of the cutscene because it's inside the workspace, not the cutscene folder anymore. So just make sure to do that, and now let's try. So when you touch it, well, it's still doing the same problem. Why? Because we're only toggling the is playing, but we're not checking for it. So if is playing, then return. What I'm doing here, if the cutscene is already playing, then don't execute the following code, alright? So return. I'm just basically returning from this function, so the other code doesn't work. So let's play. And hopefully it will work now. Alright. Here we go. Now I can go ahead, touch the cutscene part, but nothing is happening. So let's see why. So if it's playing, then return. Is playing is equal to true, and then I'm doing this. Is playing is equal to false. So what's wrong exactly? Let's do some prints. Print attempt to run or run. And then let's do here print already playing, and here print play. Let's see what's going on exactly. So when we touch that part, okay, so run, play, already. Oh, wait a sec. This should work, but somehow it's. Wait. Run, play, run. So what it's going to do, run, play, and then run, play, and run, play, then again run, play, or already playing now. Run, already playing, run, already playing, already playing, already playing. Yeah, it works. But why exactly didn't play? Animation play. Should work just fine though. Can I not hook the camera so I can see if that works? I'm just not going to hook the camera. Alright, let's see. Let's see if it still works without the camera. Oh, I need to unhide the cutscene, so I don't want to hide the cutscene. So let's see how that goes. Alright. Let's go. And alright, it works. Well, why my camera doesn't update? Let me see. So let's hide the cutscene again. Let's start. Actually, let's just leave this on. Works without untouched. And let's see once again. Oh, wait a sec, bro. Wait a sec. I need to hook the camera, of course. And so let's see how that goes. Okay. Here we go, it works just fine. Yeah, but for some reason it's still like lagging my camera for some reason when I touch on it. Or is it just fine? What? What's going on exactly though? Alright, let me see. By the way, start cutscene if it's playing, then just return. Alright, let's try once again. Okay, now it should work just fine. Here we go. But what's really wrong here? Basically because I'm hooking the camera and then I'm hooking it and hooking it again. Oh yeah, so that was why. But though, I need to make sure that the run function runs. Oh yeah, it's okay. So if it's playing, and we're good to go. So yeah, that worked just fine. Good stuff. Now, let's say I don't want it to play once again. Basically, I want it to play just once, and then boom, you can't touch the part again, and then like play it again. So what I can do is I can make a variable called played. Local played is equal to false. So now inside of here, like actually let's put that variable in the top, played, like this. So it's equal to false, of course, at first. And then here in the, where it is, start cutscene, what I can do is, if played, then return. Okay, good stuff. So if already played, don't start the cutscene. And then I'm just going to say here, and I'm going to make sure to set the played to true. Alright, now it won't happen at all. Alright, okay, even though I'm touching, that won't ever happen once again. At all. But the thing is, it's still not in binding and hooking my camera correctly. Why? Because I didn't do something, which is I need to set the camera, so camera type is equal to enum.camera_type dot, I think custom. Yep, custom. Now it should work flawlessly. Like literally flawlessly. Here we go, let's see. Boom, run, play. And now it should give me back my camera. Here we go! Alright, as you can see, there is a lot of things that you can do using scripting. It's not like a plugin, like when you use a plugin, like when I'm making a plugin, I can't really know all your use cases. But using scripting, you can do anything you really want, basically. Any logic you want, you can do it using scripting. So as you can see, I made it like from the start until here, and everything is fine. If I wanted to, so played is plain. I can also add a new variable called one shot, which means, do I want the cutscene to run just once, or every time the part gets touched and the cutscene is ended? So I can say false or true, depending on what you want. I can say false. And then what I can say is, instead of like making the played variable directly, or I can actually go here, if played or not one shot inside of parentheses, or not one shot, which means just one time. So this will depend. So if it's played, then it's going to return, unless if this is true. And in this case, one shot is equal to false. So not false is equal to true, which means played or true, which will means it will return. Well, wait a sec. Actually, not really here. So let's just take that off. Not really here. I should do it here. If not one shot, or if one shot, then played is equal to true. So if it's one shot, then I'm going to say to it that it's already played, so it doesn't get played once again. Here we go. Alright, so that's basically it. Or what I can do, instead of one shot here, I can look and do it somewhere else. But this is the best place anyways. So as you can see, you can do a lot with it. And just for the sake of completion, we're going to add some events too. Let's say I have a server script, okay? Let's say inside of propagate storage, I have an event, a remote event, okay? Let's say play the cutscene, okay? And then I have my script that goes ahead and just run it for me. So let's say game. So I need to get the replicate storage, of course. Replicate storage, which is game get service replicate storage. Okay, good. Now replicate storage. I do need the players too. Let's just say the players. Equal to game get service players, and then players dot, let's say player added, for example, connect function player. Okay, good. Now whenever a player do something, I'm going to do something else. So whenever player dot, well, the character added connect to a function. So this will give me the character whenever the character gets added of the player. So the character is added. Now I can say character dot die connect to a function, and of course character dot human weight, or wait for child human weight, because I'm not going to find it yet in the server. It might not be loaded yet, so I need to wait for it. So dot died connects function, and then what I can say is replicate storage dot play the cutscene. So this is my remote event. I can say fire client player comma, well, fire client player comma player. Yeah, so that's basically it. Right, good stuff. Now this will be what we'll basically do. It will listen if a character have died of a player of X, and then if it does, then it will fire that client or that specific player. Now I can go ahead in here and I can say, I can put the replicate storage true, just like this, local replicate storage, and I can say replicate storage dot well, replicate storage. Yeah, I need the remote. So let's get the remote. Local remote is equal to replicate storage wait for child, because in the client nothing is considered loaded, like it's not guaranteed. Now I need to wait for child play the cutscene. And so what I'm going to do is in the start function, so instead of workspace.onTouch, I can leave it too, but let's say I want to disable it, and then I can say remote dot on client event, I think, or on server event, client event, right? Connect function, just like that, and then let's print server die. All right, now remote dot on client event connect function print server die, and then I'm just going to start the cutscene. And let's play this. Okay, so I need to die. And here we go. Server die! And then run, play, and stuff like that. And here we go. That's basically it. But hey, why it's not giving me back my thing? Let me see. Why? In HUD camera handle.custom, it should do. Oh yeah, I know why. I know why. Because let's see. I think I know, but let's see how it goes. So start cutscene in HUD camera handle. camera type custom. Wait, what? It should work normally. Why it doesn't do that? That's weird. Let's make sure to print this in hooked. Play and see how that goes. Alright, let's die. Alright, let's see how that goes. Alright, in hooked. Oh yeah, but the camera subject doesn't get setted. Right. Alright. Alright, so luckily this is an easy fix. Inside Hinge camera to handle, we just need to make sure that the camera subject is right. So camera subject is equal to, we need to get the character, so we need the player, but we don't have the player yet, and how we can get the player is by getting the player service. So players is equal to get service, right? Get service, players, and then I need to get the player. Local player is equal to players. So players dot local player. Okay, just like that, I can get the player. Now I need to get the character here. So where it is in hook camera to handle, camera subject is equal to character wait for child human wait, just like that. So, and I need the character, of course. Character, just going to make sure that it's right. Character is equal to player dot character, or if it doesn't find the character yet, or it's not loaded yet, then what we can do is or player, we can wait for the character. Player dot character added, wait. Now that should work just fine. Camera dot camera subject character wait for child human wait. And but the thing is, this will wait, and it might not be exactly the thing that you want, because this will wait. If you don't want it to wait, and then like wait for the character, then what you can do is spawn it up using, so basically here you can say this coroutine dot wrap function, just like this. And then you can say end and then call that, just like that basically. But I'm going to make a simple function for you, and I'm going to explain for you what this function does. I'm going to call it no wait. Okay. Local function no wait. What it's going to do, it needs the function. And then it's basically going to say this. Just instead of this function, it will get the function itself, just like that. So that's basically it. And instead of doing this, what I can say is no wait function, just like that. Okay, so whenever, like for example, I have here the character added wait, camera subject character wait for child human wait. Let's say I'm dead, and the in-hook camera to handle, it's waiting for the character. So let's say after the in-hook camera handle, I have a print done. Okay, so this won't print until the camera is in-hooked, and the camera is in-hooked. It cannot be done until you make it no wait, like until you wait for the character and the character is there, and then you set the camera subject. But let's say you don't want the camera subject to get reseated, you just want it print done directly without waiting for this. You just want to wait for this in somewhere else that is independent. You can just say no wait function and then end. That's basically it. So basically I'm executing this like I'm executing it in another script. So that's kind of the thing, basically. I'm just going to leave it like that because I don't really see much of a like something that you might need or something. I don't know. But yeah, print done. Now that should fix that bug. As you can see, there's a lot of cases. It really depends on your game. It really depends on a lot of factors. But I'm trying to cover the majority here, like really. But something is wrong with this. Oh yeah, because it doesn't touch. And let's say you want it to happen when it died, when it's touched, and when the cutscene gets started. So you can just put them all there. Doesn't matter. You can, of course, by the way, this start cutscene will wait until the cutscene is done. Then it will execute this. Let's say, well, that's right actually. Well, let's say you want it to get played whenever this gets touched. What you can do is just, you know, put this before the start cutscene. But anyway, let's just play. And as you can see, right now it will run. But wait, let me make sure it's not one shot, because if it's one shot, yeah, it's not one shot, because if it's one shot, then it will play only once. And not if it's not one shot, then it will happily play thousands of times without any problem. Alright, so as you can see, it worked just fine. If I research my character and I die, it works just fine again. Okay. Alright, and that problem is fixed. And I can go ahead and I can touch this too. But just make sure you're not there. Because if you're there, it's going to try get it again, as you can see. But let's say you want to have some cooldown there. What you can say is start cutscene. Well, let's see how I can do it. That will be much crazier. So you can have a cooldown is equal to, let's say 5 or 10 seconds, I don't know. Alright, local cooldown is equal to 10. And then local is on cooldown is equal to false because it's not on cooldown yet. Alright, so there is a lot of stuff that is happening. If it's plain, then alright, and I just don't want to do it in the main code. Start cutscene. Let's go just with untouched for now. Untouched. Start the cutscene. Don't need this too. Actually, let's leave everything. Just, you know, comment this out. So if you need it, you can just in-comment it. So workspace dot untouched dot touch connect. Now, what we're going to say is, if it's on cooldown, then return. If not on cooldown, then what you're going to say is on cooldown is equal to true. Then you're going to start the cutscene, and then you're going to wait for the cooldown, right? And then you can toggle that on again. So is on cooldown is equal to false, right? So wait cooldown. However, this will wait the cooldown. The cooldown will be applied after the cutscene is done, right? So basically the cooldown will start counting after the cutscene is basically done. So 10 seconds of cooldown after the cutscene is stopped, right? But if you don't want that, to happen after the cutscene is done, what you can say is, you can grab this before start cutscene, then you can say no wait function, and just do this. Wait cooldown is on cooldown is equal to false. That's basically it. So this will start counting the cooldown before. I know this is a lot of stuff, and I'm just trying to answer all the questions. I'm just trying to give you a clue of what you can do on every kind of thing. But for now, we'll just, I don't know. I'm just going to set for now the cooldown to 0. That's it, basically. Is on cooldown equal to false, and yeah, that's basically it. There is a lot of stuff to cover again, but well, it's already 1 hour and 11 minutes, so I hope you liked this video. I hope you learned a lot, because really, if you made it until this point, you really learned a lot. Not in just cutscenes, but in scripting in general. This basically kind of covered everything, kinda. By the way, just one more use case that you might need, that you really might need, is that you want to, let's say, to fire all the clients, okay? For example, when a human wait or someone die, let's say, you want to play the cutscene for all the clients, for all the players. I'm not sure what you might use that for. Let's just do it. Fire all clients. So instead fire client, you can say fire all clients. Just like this. Play. And this should work just fine, even though I don't have another player, but I guarantee that this will work just as fine. As you can see, it works perfectly. Cool. Alright, so right now I covered most of the things that you might need. Oh, alright, well, let's add music too, why not? It's pretty simple to do so. Audio, and then let's look for music. Well, I really don't want to get demonetized, so let's look for NSS videos or musics stuff. And let's see, let's take this one, I guess. Alright, here we go. I'm not sure if you do hear the music or not, but here we go. Let's get the Mortals music into here, into the local script. And then I can put it on its own variable. Local music is equal to script.mortals, just like this. Or I can just call it music, that's much better. Because when you have spaces, you can do script.mortals space, stuff like that. No, you need to use this, you need to use a string. But we don't need that, I just called it music, and now I can use it like this, .music. Okay? So local music is equal to script.music. Now what I can say is, when the cutscene gets started, inside here, like when it runs, actually let's go to the run function. And then we can say, by the way, I'll have another variable called run cutscene is equal to, actually run music. Okay, so equal to false or true for now. You can toggle this off, so if you don't want the run to run the music, local and run music, and then okay, so what I need else, oh yeah, stop the music after the cutscene is done. This is a big stuff. Stop the music. So stop music when finished. Okay, is equal to true. Now I'll come here Is playing already playing, blah blah blah. Alright, I'll come here where I'm setting is playing to true, and I'm going to say the following. If run music, or if play music, let's call it play music, that's much better. Play music, okay. If play music, then script.music, or actually let's just say music because I already did it into a variable. So music play, just like that. And then here, before setting is playing equal to false even, I can say if stop music when finished, then music stop. And that should work flawlessly. Like really flawlessly. Okay, so I need to receive the cat now, I guess. No? Wait, let me see again what was the thing about it. Oh yeah, untouched. For now, I'll just, do it as default as we'll start the cutscene when the game gets started. So, there we go. Alright, and it stops after the cutscene is done. If you don't want it to stop when the cutscene gets done, you can just say false. Stop music when finished, false. And then that would work. Right, as you can see, it works flawlessly. I'm just going to set it as default to true. One shot false, played is equal to false. This should always be false. And is plain. You don't really need to edit this once. Played and is plain, I suppose. So I'm just going to put them by themselves. So one shot you can edit it. Does the cutscene run once? Should the cutscene run once? Should the cutscene cool down? Where I put it the cooldown, by the way. Let me make sure that where I put it. Oh yeah, I put it on touch. So should the cutscene cool down when part get touched? Okay, and so is on cooldown. This you shouldn't really use it. Alright, and then play music. Should music get played when the cutscene get played? And stop music when finished. Should the music should the music stop when the cutscene finished? Alright, so there's a lot of stuff about this. And this is the music variable. By the way, let's say you want to change the music. You can just go ahead to the toolbox. You can get some other music. Let's say this one. And then copy the asset ID. Come to here and paste it here into the sound ID. Just like that. And play.
Listen made by KR_tap.
Oh god. What the heck was that? So let's see something else. Copy asset URL because I don't know if that's copyrighted, incorporated, or whatever. Because I heard something else. Alright, this doesn't work for some reason. Here we go, let's play. Here we go.
Wherever love goes, there is also misery. It's no mystery.
As you can see, it works flawlessly, and I can move and everything. Let's say I want to freeze my character movement when the cutscene is getting played. How I can do that? Well, it's kinda simple, but at the same time not that simple. Okay, so here's what you're gonna do. We're just going to research it fast so we can just copy it. How to freeze the character movement. Roblox. Let's see. In place. Okay. Let's see if someone got it right. I don't think. No, that's the worst way to do it. How to stop the character movement. Yeah, how to disable player movement. Yep. Okay, let's see. Yep, here we go. This is the best way to actually freeze the player controls. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do here to the local scripts, and I'm going to say this local. By the way, I'm just going to leave actually. Never mind. So controls. Here we go. I already have the player service. I already have the player, so I can just replace this with player. So require player scripts player module get controls, and then controls disable. But this controls disable, I'm going to make it inside start cutscene. So I'm going to make a new local freeze or disable player movement is equal to true, let's say. Should the player character get frozen when the cutscene starts? And then local enable player movement when finished is equal to true. So yeah, so just do the same thing. Should the player character get frozen, get back when the cutscene stops. So yeah, just some comments to remind you a little. If you really want to use this, but I don't really recommend using this, you can just, get the functions that you need from this video. And yeah, that's basically it. So yeah, I'm kind of like teaching you here how you can do your stuff instead of just copying this. But you can go ahead and copy this, I don't mind. But yeah, just know how you can run the right functions by, like watching the whole video and trying to understand things. So now we got the controls. But I can go ahead, I can come here, and when the cutscene gets started, where it is start cutscene function, here we go. So if disable player movements, enable player movements when finished, is on cooldown, play music. So what I want, oh yeah, disable player movements. Okay, so if disable player movements, then you're going to say controls disable, and then when actually not here, but after the checks, like here, when you're about to hook the camera handle and stuff, and then here when print done, you can go ahead and you can say this controls enable, and of course if it's another variable, enable player movement when finished. Yep, then controls enable. That should work. Okay, player module is now valid member player scripts. Yeah, sure. If that happens, well, that shouldn't really happen. Oh yeah, just wait for child for this because it's not loaded yet. And this should work fine. Let's see how that goes.
Wherever love goes, there is also misery.
I can't move my character, but now I can move it. Alright, cool stuff. Alright, player move called, but players currently has no characters. Oh god, no. Anyway, so that was it. You want to add a skip button too? Alright, sure. Oh god, I'm dying. But okay. So, let's make a starter GUI, screen GUI, and then a skip thing. Okay. I'm just going to make it a button very fast because I'm dying here. Wow. Alright, text button. So this is cutscene skip. I'm gonna call it cutscene. And this is the skip button. And I'm just going to set the position, the scale, size, and stuff. So I'll anchor it to the down right corner of the screen. Alright, and then I'm going to set its position to 1, and then I'm going to get off some 8 pixels from there, from the sides as a margin, and then the size I'm going to set, instead of offset, I'm going to say 0.25. Let's say that's so big. Let's go with 2, 0.2. Yeah, that's fine. 0, 0.1 here. No, 0.05 should be fine. Yep. Alright, now actually let's go with 0.15, I suppose here. Alright, good stuff. Now let's call this skip cutscene. Text scaled, or let's just 28 for example. And then let's get it a little bit black. And then let's make sure the text color is white. Let's put a UI corner to add some corners. Here we go. If you want it to scale properly on all devices, just make sure this is scaled. I'm just going to leave it like this for now. Doesn't matter. Okay. Now, by the way, if you want to disable the cutscene GUIs, you can just disable this. Alright. Now, let's go ahead and let's do local. And now we need to get the GUI. How we can do that, we need to get the player GUI. So let's do that. Local player GUI is equal to players.player GUI. Okay, good. Now you need to get the corresponding screen GUI, which is cutscene, called cutscene. So cutscene GUI is equal to player GUI, and you need to wait for it because it's not loaded yet, possibly. And you're going to wait for a cutscene because it's called cutscene, as you can see here. Now I can get the skip button. Local skip is equal to skip button, right? Skip button is equal to skip. So cutscene GUI dot skip. Oh, and of course, let's make sure to wait for child actually. So for child skip. And then what I'm going to say is I'm just going to add a new variable called, or actually no need. Let's go with skip button. Now here I can just say the following: skip button dot on clicked, I think. No, wait, the mouse button 1 down, I think, 1 up, connect function. Then what I'm going to say is start cutscene, and that should be fine. Oh no, no way. I can't start the cutscene using this. Well, this is a skip button, so we need to stop the cutscene on its tracks. So what we can do is, well, let's see. What we can say is local skip request is equal to false. And here, whenever you get to the next, we try to get to the next key point, what I'm going to say, if skip request, then our action, oh yeah, skip request is then, what you're going to say is just return. Actually, not even return, but I need to call this stuff. So I need to call it into a function. I need to make it into a function. Finish. Now I'll put the function here, local finish. Oh yeah, local function finish. It's like that, and here I need to call the finish, and also here. Finish, and then return. Or just basically return it here. So yeah, that should kind of work, I think. Now what will this do is, every time we'll check if the skip request is on. If it's on, it should make it off for future stuff. And then it should finish up. So now what I can do is, when you click on the skip button, it should say the following: skip button. So actually, skip request is equal to true. Now what it will does, whenever you click this skip button, it should, player GUI is not about number of players. What? Oh, wait, what? Not players, but player. Okay, wait a sec. Here in player GUI, it should be player, like this. Now, run it. Should be fine.
Wherever love goes, there is also misery. It's no mystery.
For some reason, it didn't work, I guess. If skip request, print skipping. By the way, I'm going to delete the music because it's not letting me talk. I can just say the following, and I can set the volume to 0, or I can come here, play music. I can say false. Play. Now when I skip the cutscene, so it doesn't skip it for some reason. Let's see why. Print new key point, and then here, let's make sure it's running. Print skip rest, so I can see what's going on my program. That's what we use print for. I can skip the cutscene, but yeah, it doesn't work for some reason. So the question is why? Can I see the skip button cutscene here for child skip? Well, it should work. I don't know why. Mouse button 1. Let's use down, I don't know. Let's see how that goes. Skip cutscene. Still doesn't work, really? Come on, bro. Can I print the skip button? Just to make sure. Oh, for some reason, oh yeah. Because I'm starting the cutscene, what a... Come on, bro. Oh, yeah, I need to start the cutscene, but this should be first. I should do this first. Let me do it here. Before even hiding the cutscene, because why not? or actually do it here. Okay, now it should work. Now if I skip the cutscene, the next key point, should at least, but it didn't. So I clicked the skip pressed, but it still didn't do its job correctly. Now we need to know why. Okay, so skip is pressed. So if skip request then print skipping it did it? Yeah, it did. Skips request equals false and then finish. I shouldn't have this return here. I should have it here actually. Now it should work. I'm kind of confident. 99% will work now. So if I skip the cutscene, here we go. Boom. Now the next camera I will just skip. And we can also skip the cutscene like directly, instantly, but that's going to make it even more complex and stuff. And you know, I'm just very tired now. See you later, man. Hope you learned something. So yeah, bye.